Now, I am glad to introduce OCSA class of 2001 alumnus, Eric Trine, to address our farewell address. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was amazing, totally rad. I feel totally unaccomplished up here. So we are here. We're here today. You're here, I'm here, we're all here. How did we get here? Parents, you may be asking yourselves, how did we get here? How are my kids graduating from high school? And students, you're like, yes, we're here. Get me out of here. And for teachers, we're here again. Another graduating class, not diminishing it, but something to celebrate. And then there's me, and I'm really trying to figure out what I'm doing here. And how I got from there to here over the last 16 years. Because expectations and results don't always really line up in life. And what I mean by that is when I was sitting where you are, the only thing I could think about was the graduation gift I was about to receive from my parents. And no, it wasn't a big check of money. It says on your program that I graduated from the production and design department, which is true in part. But in the yearbook, it says Eric Trine, stage combat. See, stage combat is the physical education kind of requirement you fulfill when you're in the production and design department, and I got really, really, really into it. So my graduation gift, my parents paid for me to go to this workshop, the Society of American Fight Directors National Stage Combat Workshop. It was 4 weeks long where I would study in 3 disciplines to become an actor combatant. The only problem is that I wasn't a very good actor. And I realized that the path I was headed wasn't the path that I wanted to go on at all. And the feedback I received was, Eric, you're very good with swords and rolling around on the stage, but you need to study acting. So I came back from that workshop and got back to the work that I really love doing and the work that I joined OCSA for in the first place, and that was because I really love making stuff. And when I joined the program as a sophomore year in high school, back when it was at LaSalle High School, I saw all these students building things all day long in the afternoons using power tools. I wanted to use power tools and learn set design and construction and lighting design. So after I got over my stage combat wounds, I knew that I needed to get back to the thing that I love, the thing that I know, the only thing that I know that I love doing. I just really love making stuff. As a friend of mine says, I make stuff because I get sad if I don't. Maybe some of you can relate. So in addition to claiming my parents' garage as my studio, I took every single art class at Long Beach City College for 4 years. See, I didn't stand up here and say, I'm going to NYU. No diss, I wish I went to NYU or Columbia or UCLA, but I wasn't really planning on that. All I really knew is I just wanted to make stuff. So I did, and I kept making stuff. I eventually transferred and received my BFA in sculpture in 2007. I proposed to my girlfriend that same year. The next year, she became my wife, and we moved into our first apartment together. It was a special time because we're trying to figure out how we put a life together, not only as a couple, but our apartment, the physical stuff. How do we arrange the furniture in our home, and what did it mean? What did it mean to ourselves? What do we want it to feel like, look like? And how do we extend that in hospitality to other people? Our budget being what it was, $0, I decided to make a bunch of furniture myself, and something clicked. And this work resonated with me. So I kept making furniture, and it connected with other people as well. I always find that fascinating that as artists, we pull this stuff out of our brains, shove it through a medium, and people connect with it. They connect with it enough to want to live with it or show up and watch it. So after a few years, this thing began to snowball, and I started making furniture full time and decided to pursue a master's degree studying craft and design. We moved up to Portland, Oregon for a couple years, and I made a lot of stuff, wrote a lot about making stuff and read a lot of books about making stuff, basically an MFA degree, a Master in Fine Arts. And when I graduated, I launched my business, Eric Trine Studio, extremely clever name. We prototype everything in-house, and I partner with local manufacturers, all within the Los Angeles region. I've exhibited my work at multiple international design shows, have partnered with the biggest retailers in the country, and worked on special projects for publicly traded companies. Some of my chairs have made it all across the globe to Copenhagen, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Lima, Peru, and Alaska and Australia. But I can say today that my greatest joy is that I get to wake up, drive a mile to my studio, and do something that I love. And I support my family doing it. I have a wife and 2 young daughters. Now that's the super abbreviated, highly condensed, and very linear sounding version of the last 16 years. In reality, it was very meandering, and it was very weird, and it started with stage combat. But I knew to the core of my being that I just wanted to make stuff, and I committed myself to that process. So in that, here's a little bit of advice, if I can give you any advice, a couple tips. There are 2 things that no one can ever take from you in your life as an artist, as a creative. Interpret that as you will. Your work ethic. Cultivate a strong work ethic. No one can take that from you. Sister Corita Kent, a Catholic nun, printmaker, educator, and activist, once said, "The only rule is work. If you work, it will lead to something. It's the people who do all the work all the time that eventually catch on to things." Now, she wasn't advocating for workaholism. Workaholism is avoiding life with work. She was saying, put in the work to find your voice, which is the second thing that you have and that you can control that no one can take away from you. Your voice as an artist, it's yours. Cultivate it, refine it. You need to find it, you need to learn to trust it, and you need to share it as often as possible. And it's funny how those things work together and inform each other. Sharing your voice is an act of trust. But you can't find it unless you trust and share. And the more you find it, the more you want to share, and the deeper trust you cultivate for yourself. And all of these things work together, and they take work and they take time. You need to be committed to the process, not the results. If you're committed to the results and you don't receive the results you want, what are you going to do? The results don't define your voice. Your voice is defined through your process. You can't control the results, you can only control you, your work ethic, and your voice. And it isn't up to the world to give you the results that you want. Art isn't necessarily something that we know we need until we encounter it. Put another way, I've heard someone say, a painting is an answer to a need that cannot be conceived apart from the painting that answers it. One more time. A painting is an answer to a need that cannot be conceived apart from the painting that answers it. See, the painting is the question and the answer in and of itself. I asked a friend why he makes painting the way he does, and he said, I wanted to see it. Maybe to the musicians out there, you make the work that you do because you want to hear it. The culinary artists, you wanted to taste it. The dancers, you wanted to move like this to see what it would do. I want to see something I haven't seen before. Maybe you can relate to that. But I have to bring it. And you have to bring it. Stay committed to the process. Results may vary. Charles Eames, a great American designer who passed about 40 years ago, said, eventually everything connects. People, ideas, objects. And the quality of connections is the key to the quality. Earlier today, like hours ago, I finished installing a work of scenic design and construction for a very large company for an event in downtown Long Beach. Set design, set construction, something that I haven't done since I graduated here, but the foundation was laid when I was here. And I find it funny that I'm standing in front of you tonight talking about that and sharing my story. It's feeling very like everything connects. So I say to you, class of 2017, congratulations on the journey you've begun. See, this is called a farewell address, but it seems like more like a keep going address, or like a welcome to this side of the stage address. Keep doing the work. Keep finding your voice, even if it takes a long time. Because if you pursue results, you may get exactly what you hoped for. But if you stay committed to the process, the results may surprise you and take you to a place that you never could have imagined, and maybe bring it all back to where it began. Congratulations, class of 2017. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Ralph Opasek and the OCSA's deans, Michael Chesick, Becca Freeland, Sally Lopez, Taryn Schaefer, and the Director of Special Services, Dr. Greg Endelman, to the stage to begin the presentation of diplomas.